What's up, Scout? Having too much fun, bud? Having fun being a cat? Cats are funny. So we got a little bit of a late night paint session tonight. Gonna work through a paint session. A couple things I want to do is tighten up our figure. Constantly working on her. You know, just it's an ever going process of building up our figure here. And on top of that, we're gonna work the rest of the painting. So, you know, constantly just building, working, building, working, building. All right, and let's go. Here we go. We've got the eyebrows. Got our eyebrows. Let's tighten up some areas. Focus on the face. I'm gonna focus on the face for a little bit. Probably spent way. If I had started this with a, in a traditional way, I probably would be done with the face by now. Simply because it's, I do such a loose method of painting. But hey, you know, this is one of those paintings where I'm like, you know, what if I do pick up a new way of painting that, you know, makes things way more efficient? Would I consider it? Yes, I would totally consider that. But here we go. I'm going to get a couple of brushes here. Let's go. And let's see how this is going to work. Oh, let's rotate this. Let's see, what kind of pink do I have on this?
Yeah.
Yo, what's up, Omizu? How you doing, bud? Getting a little later paint session than usual tonight. Should get your work in. Should get the should put in the hours. Should put in your hours. You're almost at 10,000 hours. Cats are going nuts now. It's Zoomy hour. It's the hour of the Zoomies. 30 plus years. 30 plus years. Hey, I mean, 30 plus years. It's doable, right? 30 plus years of stream time. YouTube hasn't even been around for 30 years. Isn't that nuts? Well, maybe. YouTube started in 2004. So, yeah, 21 years. YouTube hasn't even been around for that long. +30 years of what? 8 hours a day or something? I don't know. Something like that. No, I need a smaller brush. Hopefully I could eventually like break this cycle of like constantly working and reworking an area. I feel like that's the sign of like an expert, right? Is that an expert would probably not need to work this as many times as I do. But maybe I'm just really hard on myself. I don't know. I feel like the more I stream, the more I become a little bit overly critical. Like my early streams used to be so motivational, inspirational, I think, but the more I stream, I feel like my start to get a little bit more critical. And I don't know if it's a good thing, because I almost do it as like a joke, but I know that that's not it's not always good, right? Being overly self-critical is it's not a good thing. So let's see how this is looking. We got our eyes over here. Got a couple of streaks of brown into the eyes right there. And let's see if we can do the shape of her stomach a little better. So the shape of her stomach should have just a little bit of a bulge around this section. So let's try to find that bit of shape here. And we're gonna go with like a nice, super light color here. Darken this a little bit. Just want to give her a nice like curve, because it is reflected in this in the final piece, in the original. Is that she's got abs. She's got this natural curve of her stomach here. Let's see how we can make it feel more natural. We'll try to mix some highlights onto it. Some like highlights right here. ever so slightest detail. Why does my clothes smell like beer? I didn't even drink. I don't drink very often. For some reason, my clothes smell like beer. Oh, hey, people have been chatting. Totally missed the messages. What's up? How's it going? Nelly. Let's see. Who sent an inappropriate message? Someone sent the Russian message. I don't know what that says. Uh, Sushi. Yeah. So someone sent the Russian message. I don't know what it says, so therefore I cannot show it. If I don't know what it says, I can't, in good conscience, allow myself to show it, since I don't know what it means. Let's go ahead and shape this. So I'm bring this shape down. Oh, let's go white. Have this white here, just the white. Still doesn't feel natural enough. This little section up at the belly right here. We'll work that later, but I think it's in a pretty good place now. So let me get some layering colors. Let me try to find some colors that are specifically for layering. We're gonna get fairly loose. Try to find some good colors that are just for creating like a shadow tone here. So we get a little bit of our mineral spirit. And I'm just gonna come into here. Let's try to find this color here. We're gonna go. And then we're gonna come around here and boom, boom, boom. Come down here and boom, boom, boom. Brush this down. And there we go. Okay. And then now let's try to find a pink here. We're gonna find a nice fleshy pink. And use this as a blending, just to blend in these browns here. So let's start from the outside just to work our way in. You know what, now that I see this, I think maybe, this is just my own brand of design here, right? I want to try to keep this area, nice and shadowy, but still like having like a nice natural transition. But that requires me to not be, a wimp with some of these shadows here. So let's see. Captain Fist is offended. What are you offended by, dude? What is offensive in your life right now? Please do share. Tell us about all your offenses and things that are upsetting you right now. I'm no therapist, but sometimes you don't even need a therapist. Sometimes you just need someone who's going to. Sometimes you just need someone who's going to hear what you have to say. And if you've never had that in your life, it can be life changing. It really can be. You've never had anyone in your life that would be willing to like listen to you and just like let you talk without interrupting. My goodness, it is absolutely life changing. Who here can say that they've had a good listener in their life? I feel like I've had my best listener. I actually paid him to do it. He was the life coach I had. I had a life coach. He was the best listener. And I knew it's so funny because I know his trick, right? I knew what his trick was. His trick, my life coach, his trick is essentially anytime you had something to say, uh, basically he would allow you to say it and he wouldn't say anything. And I'm pretty sure he had like a timer where he wouldn't say anything for 30 seconds to a minute after you had already spoken your piece. And that was his trick. And even though I knew it, no matter how much I knew about it, it still got me every time. I'd be like, is he really doing this right now? But I'd be so caught up in in my own thought that it wouldn't really matter. It wouldn't really matter if I knew his listening trick because there was like more at stake, you know? More at stake in my life than trying to analyze his tricks of the trade. So George, all right, George. Apparently George's edits, dude. Edits. I was just looking at my list of moderators, and do you change your profile like every time? Because I'm pretty sure if you're the real edits, you would have moderator status. So I don't know what to believe anymore. Are you the real edits or not? Are you the real edits? Will the real edits please stand up? Please stand up. You know that reference, edits, or are you too young? You know the reference. Well, the real Slim Shady, please stand up. Please stand up. One of those fingers on each hand up. Let me grab a slightly bigger brush here. I want a brushier brush. How am I feeling about this color? Welcome back, edits. Hope you're staying in school, getting good grades, playing those sports. That's soccer. CRJ. Imagine a 7-year-old child running into this, and I don't know what you're talking about, CRJ. You're weird, bro. You're weird. You're creepy. Don't be creepy. I don't know what you're. This is not made for kids. This live stream. I have that specifically set where, this is fine art based on a painting. Don't get creepy, dude. Obviously, if you can't handle looking at fine art, a painting, then, you just, there's other places on the internet for you. So this armpit area is really difficult to navigate. Trying to get just the right right shadows into this space here. But I think it's okay, honestly. I think it's not too bad. We're in a good position. Let's go bring in some more of this highlight to layer on top of this section right here. Make a pale pink here. All right, let's see. Let's bring a little bit more of this pink fleshy tone down into here. Let's go like this, bring this up. Let's go find some more of these pinks here. I'm just gonna try to bring the pinks across here. Boom, 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 boom. And let's try to find a little bit of just a off yellow. It's for the top right here. The shadow's really deep, so I want to reduce that just a little bit. We deaden this color a little bit. Let's go a little bit more. Deaden it just a bit more. Let's see, how do we deaden this color? There we go. Maybe find yellow ochre. All right, let's see how we can tighten up details. Oh wait, right down here there needs to be a leg. Let's bring in a little leg here. Bring a little leg in down here. A little voided section. Yo, what's up, Vic? How do I layer up skin tones so well? Um, so most awesomest, smartest. I wish I could give you a great answer. I don't have like if you think this is actually pretty good, then, honestly, um, this is just, this is an attempt as much as it is, I'm just learning from, I'm just copying. This is a master copy or master study, whatever you want to call it. And I think, if you pick the right subject to study and you do just a little bit of research from them, um, you could find those answers. For me, like, my style, if you've been watching these live streams, it's really a lot of trial and error. Like, there's some spaces where I work and I've been working it and overworking it, and you'll see that I just keep working it until finally it just clicks. But I wish I had like a definitive answer for you, but it's kind of what it is, Just just paying attention to the details on what I'm looking at, and then making sure that I get those details. And somehow, eventually, if you just keep building it up, I think you get what you're looking for. Honestly, I think that, like, if I actually compare to the original, there's so many things wrong with my painting, but this is just, you just keep going. Just keep going till you figure it out. This is too much of an angle. I'll try to soften that up. Got that. That's not bad. All right. If you get closer, this is one of those paintings where if you get closer, you're like, oh, okay, I can see all of the issues with it. But as long as you stay like at a distance, look at it, I think it becomes less prominent. Yeah, just keep practicing whatever it is. It's like this is one of these pieces that like I'm actually learning as we go. There's so much that like that like the way I even started is totally different. So, you know, from I don't really have like definitive answers yet for the you know what I might eventually come up with. I just don't. So if I could give you, you know, like a like any answers, I would, but I just don't feel like I have them right now. You know. Maybe just you know building up the patience to blend, you know, to just lots of mineral spirits and building up the patience, finding the right reference. Like right here. See, how can we work this area? I think there needs to be a nicer transition somewhere. Some sort of transition color. All right, let's see how we can tighten up the face. I feel like the body's important, but it's not like it's not gonna make or break. Body's really important, but there's even more important areas. And let's see around the face. I gotta get this face. What can I do to just get this face just right here? I can see all the brushwork. I can see the brushwork. This brushwork is just absolutely phenomenal, and I just feel like I'm not capturing it with what I'm doing. What would it be the right brush here? It needs like a really gentle touch. That's what this needs. And I gotta find just the right brush that gives it like a gentle. I feel like it's is it about gentleness, or what is it about this painting that just has this like very brushed look? You know, I will say another like hint that I actually got from actually just looking at the image was being comfortable using green. I think being comfortable working with green. There's a lot of green, and green is a scary color to throw on a body, because you know once you throw it on, it's like if you don't really know how to work with it, then you know you're gonna have some issues. But it can make all the difference. It really could make such a big difference in your final rendering if you use just the right amount of like green. So if I had to like give an analysis on some of the things that's going well as far as this piece, I would say the use of the color green is really helping some of the flesh areas to stand out. Color green is really helping some of the fleshy areas to stand out. All right, let's work on the ear a little bit. You know what? We can actually even blend a little bit, just a ever so slight hint of pink around the nipples, just to give it a little bit of an extra pop of light. Where do we want these? Like right around there. Okay. And let's see if we could tighten up the ears. I think the ears will really help to tighten things up. So, all right, let's go. I'm gonna grab a. No, this will be. You know what? I need a slightly bigger brush for this. We're gonna go for some redder pinks. So some red pinks here. Let's see how we can actually make this work here. So we're gonna go ear. Oh, that's a lot of pink. Oh. All right, you know what? Maybe we're just gonna get the color down for now. Let's see what we can do with this. Just gonna paint the whole ear red. Let's experiment. And we're gonna paint this whole ear red. Let's just try to build up around it. I also want to do maybe dab away a little bit at the mineral spirit here, just to pick up some of the mineral spirit. So it's not as wet. And let's try to build thick highlights. So since it's pretty wet right now, we could build. Got hair in my mouth. I'm gonna go for some nice lighter pinks, some thicker pinks. Let's see how this works. Working on a very wet surface here. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think it's gonna work too well. You know what? I think this looks just slightly better than it was last time. Just slightly. Still some, some like shading or shadows that need to be added, but I think it's not too bad. Let's go with a darker red here. And go into the ear to create this space. So we're going to come down. Let me see, getting better. What colors are on my palette? Hey, what's up, Adler? Thank you. What colors are on my palette? Good question. Let me go ahead and this I can actually talk about because I could just show you my palette. Lots of rose blush. So lots of rose blush. This color, rose. I'm using a lot of blush or rose blush. I have a few different versions of this. Lots of white, rose blush, and some umbers. So the white up there, titanium white, got the rose blush and some red. I've used a lot of this burnt sienna and a little bit of the yellow ochre. I've used the yellows a little bit just for leaves, but I haven't really had much success putting that as a skin tone. I did have some green, so I don't know. I think this is permanent green, like a permanent green, and I had that color. I was using that for like these like green areas around the vein on the body for veins and stuff. Okay. All right. Good night. So yeah, those are pretty much the color. You can hopefully you can see them. I used ultramarine quite a lot too. For the sky, I had this beautiful turquoise. But as far as flesh tones, that's what my colors are. Just lots of rose blush and white. Just combinations of rose blush, white, and some green. But I think her ear's looking better than it was before. It's pretty detailed now. So I think what it's going to come down to is letting this layer dry. And then when I want to come back to it, I can darken it with just a little bit of, darken it with a little bit of like a red pink. Let's see, let's use a darker red pink. Let's go for pink, but like a dark pink red. Bring in our burnt sienna. Burnt sienna pink, would that work? Here we get some of the fleshier areas. Just to darken. We're gonna go. This might work. Let's see. We're gonna come down. Just to separate the earlobe, this part of the ear. And then we're gonna come just a little bit up to there. And we're gonna come in by the ear, right here. And we're gonna go like this. Boom. Boom. Honestly, this ear could be a lot brighter, but let's see if we could bring down just a little bit of a shadow right under the ear, just to separate the ear, right? Everything that can use a shadow, you just get a little bit of a shadow under the ear. It'll give us that much more detail. And how's that? Go up and around. Yeah, you know what? That ear's getting just a little bit better. So that's the thing, you know, like I can up close I can see all of the problems. But, you know, being a little further away, you can't really like see exactly all of the things that I'm like, oh, that's horrible, that's ugly, that's terrible, that's you know, that needs work and that needs work. Can't really see that up close. I guess I could bring the cameras a little closer, just for the sake of being good to all of you. Usually I have another camera streaming, so I can't, you know, fit all this in one place. But I'm not streaming on my other camera right now, so I could probably bring this a little closer. Let's do it. How much closer can I bring this? Here we go. So maybe even a little bit closer. Let me try. I'm not going to be painting for too much longer, by the way. It's already been an hour. I mean, today's later than I usually like to stay up. And then nobody could see my face. Everybody's got to see my face. Otherwise, they think I'm AI, right? Kidding. All right, so see, when you see up close, you can see how patchy everything gets. And that's probably going to be, you know, the biggest thing that I got to work on is overcoming this patchiness. And I'm still trying to figure that out. How do I make it less patchy looking? I don't know. That's got to be something I discover. And hopefully I figure it out soon enough. But because here's the other thing too. Like, I know one way to reduce the patchiness is to just, you know, fully fill certain sections with color and then, you know, be expressive and everything on top of it. But what I'm trying to do with this piece is I'm trying to understand the methods of the artist, Bouguereau, which he does something a little different. If you look very, very, very closely at his artwork, you can see that he probably uses like a very thin brush, very fine brush. I don't know exactly what kind it is, but he probably uses a very fine brush, and he just does these like little, just these little wispy brush strokes, very, very like gentle little brush strokes, and he is constantly just like moves them all across, and that's somehow he creates like this really even design across the whole face, just this totally balanced design without blending areas and making it look too soft or flat. So, you know, I think that's part of his secret. But, you know, the secret is out. It's all a matter of the execution, right? How do you execute that? You can know all the secrets in the world, but it doesn't matter if you don't know how to execute, right? Who cares about secrets? Everything's out in the open now. Is there any secrets nowadays besides like Area 51? Is there any secrets nowadays? Not really. There's no secrets nowadays. Everything is out there, right for the taking. So one thing I would have to do is I have to balance this ear. So whatever this ear is, Her ear is very distinct. It's much pinker than everything else. But let's see, how's this patchiness looking? Patchiness is okay. This is looking a little better. Let me see if I could tighten up the nose again. Just gotta get this nose. There's just something about the nose that's a little off. I think varnish probably helps a little too. Anyway, so what colors? And it seems like he definitely glazes. I think he definitely glazes. So I think I didn't actually know this before I started painting this, but I was looking at it. And I'm like, why is there so much gray? And how is there so much like little bits of gray or what looks like blue? And I don't know the exact technique he used for this, but my guess is that he did grisaille. I think that's how you pronounce it, grisaille, which is like using gray, painting your initial layer with just gray. And then, when you paint over that, it creates this effect where like you have these like grays underneath. I'm thinking that's what he did. And I did something totally different, which was not use grisaille. And therefore, I will have a totally different effect. But, uh-oh, cats are getting crazy right now. What's going on, cats? Getting the zoomies right now? What's going on? Relax. It's not that time yet. Or maybe it's always that time. I don't know. But, a combination of grisaille and like all sorts of other things, which, when I started, it was totally different. I started with a totally different method. And I guess afterwards I could try to glaze with the transparent color just to even it and smooth everything out. But I don't usually glaze my paintings, or I don't what's it called, varnish my paintings. So I wonder if varnishing probably also add a lot to it as far as keeping the smoothness of everything. Let me see. I want to round out this area, smooth this area around her nose out a little bit, just to get it nice and rounded. So I'm gonna round this section out right here. Shape her eyes a little bit. Squid Game lover. What's up, Squid Game lover? I'm not an artist. I'm actually just an AI. I was trained by DeepMind. Just kidding. I'm an AI. Couldn't you tell? Couldn't you tell that I'm AI painting this live stream? All right, that's enough with the face. I've been working on his face. I'll probably be working on it for another month. But what we got to do is, I think we should tighten up some of the parts around her arms. Let's work on her arms and give her arms some important details that I've been avoiding. So I want to work on her elbows right now. So I think giving her elbows some better details, and you know what, reducing the curvature in this section right here. You know what, her elbows look a little weird, but let's see what we can do. We're gonna take it. We're gonna go with a slightly. You know what? We're not gonna take this brush. We're gonna use a different brush. Let's find kind of a white here. I want to reduce her arm size just a little bit. So she's gonna come down like that, and then just ever so slightest hint of arm size reduction here. Round this out. We could paint over everything again later. What is that? This looks kind of weird right here. Let's see. I'm gonna come down, and then this is gonna come across. And let's see, this is too pointy, so we want to round this out right here. Alright, thank you. I deserve a like. Squid Game lover thinks I deserve a like. Thank you. Thank you for the likes. Likes help. They go a long way. Alright, so let's go ahead and we're going to go. Let's try to find some pinks and browns. So we want to find some dark pinks and browns to really like layer into this thing here. Let's go. Let's try to mark an elbow. So this elbow is going to come right around here. Oh, no, that's a yellow. What happened to my pink? Where'd it go? Then I had a pink. This is where having good like brush discipline comes in, is like knowing exactly what colors you're putting down before you do it. I could work on that a little better. Sometimes, like, you know, I grabbed a green or pink, and then I was like, maybe I should put some yellow into it. Or maybe I should, you know, add this other color. And it turns out that I didn't get the color that I wanted. This needs to be a little bit darker. A little bit on a darker side of red. So I want to add just a little bit of this color. And then we're going to go a little triangle right there, a little triangle shape. Bring this down. Just bringing these reds. It's okay if it's like, you know, wet looking. We're gonna make some adjustments anyway. Gonna make our shadow a little bit more reddish. And this section is just gonna have the ever so slightest transition here. Boom. Get that transition. Get a little bit back under the arms, just a little bit over here, just to have this red. What do you call it, brown? Let's try to find pink. Let's find a good fleshy pink. Mixing my flesh rose color with a white. Fleshy rose color with the white here. And let's go like this. Boom. Just gonna put this in here and not worry too much about, you know, we're gonna be painting over this a while. Like, you know, to get to the face, I've already painted the face like a long time. I already spent a lot of time on the face and just minimal time on the arms. So, you know, right in my like, this is my first time tackling a piece like this that requires, you know, a lot of extra attention to detail. And, you know, especially one that's already been painted. So I kind of have to, like, you know, I have so many things to learn as I'm doing like a master study, right? You're taking art piece that someone already made and you're doing your best to copy them, learn from them. And, you know, I haven't tackled a piece of this caliber. I've worked on, you know, some realism, but this is my first time with this caliber of like artwork. So some of these things take me a lot more time than I feel like it would take someone who knew exactly what they were doing. But just knowing that, like, these little sections, paint them in, but then, you know, eventually I'm gonna paint over it anyway. So what brush are we gonna pop in now? Let's go. You have to go, but keep up the work. Thank you. Appreciate it. I will keep up the work. Well, definitely keep up the work. Now that I know that you're here and you're here to support me. Some new faces though. Saturday night. I guess that's a good time to stream this Saturday night. I don't stream this late usually, but got a lot of new fresh names in here that I don't always recognize. So thank you for tuning in. Thank you for making an effort to stop in, say hello. I haven't been as chatty because I know, like, it's pretty rare it's somewhat rare to have this many new people. So very, very different for me. Very different painting session for me. So we're gonna bring in some more off tones of white. Let's maybe tone down the whiteness. Mute the tone a little bit. Mute it. And let's see if we can find. You know, it's gonna be a little too bright, right? That's a little too bright. It's not that pasty. But anyway, we can always paint over it again, but still, just for now, using some mineral spirit to add an overtone here. Well, we can even probably use this color around some of the shoulder area. Let's go right around here, around the shoulder. This ain't even that white, so how do I fleshen this out a little bit? Let's go on the top here. There we go. That's not bad. That's a little better. So I just mixed in a little bit of green. So, general rule, if you need to mute your colors a little bit, general secret is to, and I'm looking for there's a lot of pink here already. If I want to reduce that color, I should probably use like a green to mute the pink. General rule: you use the opposite complementary color to help to reduce the overall saturation of it. That's the word I'm looking for, saturation. So let's see how we can work this over the arm here. So we're gonna paint over the arm. Try to get this arm looking nice and smooth. And get an elbow. Let's try to get our elbow highlights here. I should get a thinner brush, a smaller brush here. Let's get like a try to find like a couple areas where this is gonna be really dark. Right around here. Let's gray that out, and this is gonna come up, create a separation in her elbow, and then this detail right here, nice subtle little shadow right there, and then a nice subtle shadow right there, and then some roundness around the elbow joint right here. Let's see. And actually, you know what? We can go all the way across. There's some shadow right there too. What is that all about? I don't know. We'll see. Okay. And let's see if we can. This part looks a little funky though. I'm gonna have to work this area quite a bit. Let's see. That part definitely looks funky, but I think it's accurate. I think it's pretty accurate. It's just this section right here. All right. Let's go ahead and bring in our highlight now. We're gonna bring in like a nice white, pinkish white, some type of tone color. Let's go start to make these little areas of pop right. Maybe a little bit brighter. There's an elbow right there. I'm gonna come around and there's gonna be a crease going across. This is kind of gray right now, but definitely some grays. bring some extra pinks into here. Let's go like this. Let's go boom, boom. Little crossover across here. I think this is definitely a glazed section because it looks like he painted over it without any issues as far as like mixing the colors. So definitely the color was already dry. That's another thing too, you know, about doing this master copy is it's hard for me to know like exactly which sections he he waited to dry and then which sections were like totally. I'm sure he worked very methodically too, but case that said, it's hard to know like which sections were totally dry when he started working on them and then like which sections were just that he just decided to just paint right away. Sometimes that's a little harder to tell, but we're gonna go like this. Let's go. Let's see, come into here, bring that down. Get some of this elbow work down. When the cat's trying to get in the bedroom, why don't you say something? Oh, I gotta let my cats into the bedroom there. Get out. Something. Oh, okay. Well, Simba's trying to. Simba wants something. Okay. How do we navigate this? I'll let it dry for a little bit, right? Let it dry. All right, let's keep this up right here. Let's go right along the top of the hands. And we're gonna add, that layer is one way or the other way would paint wet on wet. The layer is one way, the other way would paint wet on wet. Yeah. Yeah. Well, it sounds like, well, let's see, Adler. Yeah, it sounds like you're pretty familiar with the painting techniques of oils, of the oils. Are you, do you do oils? Are you doing oils too? Is this also part of your passion? Is this one of your passions in life? Oil paints? Let's see. Let's get this hand going. This hand. find some good pinks along the fingers. So right along the knuckle up here, along the top. And it's going to get a nice little ring around coming down there. And then almost an orange at the end. A lot of orange. Yeah, well, hey, if you have I do offer this pretty often, but if you have a Instagram page or you want to promote your artwork or anything, let me know. You do have to be 18 or over to accept this offer, but I will let you do it. I will plug your page for your channel, your anything. If you want to plug it, let me know. You can just plug it, but if you want me to like pull it up and have the world look at your stuff, if you want me to broadcast to the entire universe your art, let's do it. Let's make it happen. Yeah, there's definitely some dark greens in this. Dark greens and grays in the hand here. Let's actually bring some of these shadows in, like, right here. And why am I doing this? Because I really see a lot of this like green shadow coming around. So I feel like I should prepare this for later. It should be, I feel like if I leave this color on, I think it will be a good like glazing opportunity later, or at least painting over this section that seems to be a little bit darker. It's more like neutral color. Hmm. Let's see about this hand. I love brushing on like a really smooth section of paint. This feels really nice. All right, so there's gonna be a section right here. Oh gosh. So many subtleties that I so many subtleties. So many subtle things with this piece. Make it so challenging. I was actually pretty scared to it took me a while to build up the nerve to attempt this piece actually. It was like I've been looking at this piece for about a year. It's at the Getty Center. I live in Los Angeles. And I've been looking at this piece like on and off for like a year, and I was like, I would love to do a study of that. I want to do a study of this piece, and honestly, I just haven't because it's an intimidating piece. It's very involved. And there's like just so many little subtle details. All right, let's go. Probably should just wait and let this dry so I can paint over it, but maybe I should allow it to get its blend, its color. All right, let's go. Let's go and see what we could do about this figure detail here. Let's work on his eyes. Eyes can really tighten things up. So let's see, what do I have? What color do I have? I got like a white. No, this is like a green. You know what? I can actually use green on him, like a gray. Like a gray, why not? There's a gray shadow around his ears here. And let's go black. I'm gonna go black on the hair. Black on the eyebrows. Let's turn this, let's mute this a little bit. Mute the black. So I should bring some of this black into the hair since we got it. And let's see about the eyes here. So the eyes, I'm trying to think if it's gonna be. Eyes are definitely gonna be. I guess we could go with a dark brown. Let's grab. You know what? Let's go with a brown red. So we're gonna take a burnt umber and mix it with our burnt umber with the burnt sienna. Burnt umber with the burnt sienna. We're gonna get like a really dark brown red here. That's the color we're gonna work with. Just for the eye details. Here. We're gonna come around. Scout, watch out. Psst, psst, psst. Nice glossy black eyes. We're gonna go. You know what? We're gonna go with a black pupil. Get with a black pupil here. Grab this white. Let's start with a little bit of a duller white as we paint in these eyes. Hey. Scout, come on. Yeah, go away. Not here right now. Scout, no painting for you. No painting for you. So here's a problem. This eye, when you look at it from the side, this eye's just really interesting when you look at it from the side. So it's totally different from the reference, because I think in a reference he's got like white, like beige eyes, but I think or like green eyes or something, like little cute little eyes. But this one, since I'm changing it up, kind of gotta like make stuff up. How do we do that? Let's go some little crystalline. Let's find some little flesh tones. Bourgereau might be using the color of the sky to mute his skin tones. Yeah, I can see that. Bourgereau. Yeah, the color of the sky probably. You know, once I like it's amazing how much the whole painting can change just, you know, from this to when I start to paint in the sky a bit more. Yeah, so much can change. You're right. You know what it's about. You know what this is. You know the situation. 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 You know. All right, let's see. We're gonna add some little highlight. And let's go. Use lots of pinks to lighten up his face. Try to keep them pretty much the same, except, you know, a little bit redder. The same as our little cherubic angel, but just maybe a hint redder. That's it. That's all we're gonna do as far as changing up these two figures. So wherever there's highlight, I'm gonna try to paint it like a pink. And you know what, I'm gonna work on his face a little bit more, and then I'm gonna get ready for bed. I'm gonna do a couple more items on his face. But hey, I don't know if you're still here, but thanks for, you know, being here, Adler, joining in on a conversation. Usually, sometimes it gets a little more lively, but this is a fairly new streaming hour for me. I didn't get a chance to paint this afternoon, so I felt like I had to paint this evening. But you know, it's kind of nice. I guess, you know, everybody needs something to do to put them to sleep at the end of the night, right? But I know that's not what you're here for. You're here because you really love art. You're not here hoping somebody makes you fall asleep, right? Okay. So let's go like this. This nose is really droopy. So how do we fix that? We're gonna go bring a little shadow in and reduce the get the nose like right there. And get the little nose right there. Let's actually add some shadow. Deepen this shadow a little bit around the horn. Get underneath here. Let's see. Maybe I should paint him more red instead of these his red should be really saturated. Like, you know, the pale area should be really saturated red as opposed to like a pink. It might even be a little better. Pookie, what are you doing? Why are you eating paper? Stop eating paper. It's not good for you. If you don't want to listen to me, I get it. Just, you know, looking out for you. It's my cat. She likes to eat paper for some reason. She just loves to eat paper. Alright, we're just going to get these nice little blends. Light blends in. So one thing is this little mischief maker here. So part of the reason why I decided to make this little mischief maker a little demon was partially, I mean, obviously I wanted to change the story up, but I also wanted to challenge myself, you know, because if I copy things exactly, if I, you know, the whole thing was totally copied from Bouguereau, I feel like I learned a lot, but, you know, I still want to learn, like, I wanted to, like, test myself, you know, this is kind of like a test if I can paint this figure and still achieve something similar, then, you know, I've learned a lot. But if I can't, you know, I won't consider this a failure, but, you know, if I can't, then I've still got a lot of work to do. Honestly, this probably won't be my last attempt at copying a Bouguereau piece. I might copy more of his work. I think he has some amazing, amazing pieces that are worth studying, even if you're not able to mimic his style exactly. There's some good things to be gleaned. Let me see what happens if I get like a really dark red and mix it with like a green and an orange here. Green and a yellow. I get a nice little dark brown. Alright, not bad. Might even be at a loss when the time comes, you know, when I actually have to like paint them much better. We'll see. What, Pookie? You disagree? You trying to disagree with me? So here we go. We're gonna go get a little crease right there. Little crease right there. Little boop boop. Boop boop right there. Let's see. Even if I can't like said, you will end up learning things. Win-win, exactly. Win-win. Win and win. You're only winning. If you're painting, you can't lose. If you're painting, you're always winning, right? As long as you're always painting, you're always winning. If you have time in your life to paint, that is a life of luxury, I believe. And I am very grateful for the time that I do have to paint. I'm very grateful that I can make this at least for now, part-time work. It's amazing. All right, so we're gonna come into here. We're just gonna get this elbow situated right there. And then this piece. There's wings right here, so I kind of have to like make up what's going on back here. We'll see. Let's keep building this up. Alright, let's go. Let's try to figure out these hands once and for all. We're gonna go grab this color. Grab a nice pink. Let's give him some bigger fingers here. So now his fingers are gonna come right around here. Let's go forward with this. That might be a little big for a finger, for a baby's finger. Why does that look off? This knuckle up. This knuckle should be right around where this finger starts. That's why. Let's push around some of these designs here. So we're gonna come around and let's go wherever this knuckle is. That's gonna go up, and that's where if I go straight up, this is gonna end behind. So this section needs to end behind. This section needs to end right around here. And then from there, I can go. So I can essentially shape this pinky now, or this thumb. And this wrist should probably form right around here. And this is fairly accurate. Okay, so we got some good accuracy now. So this means we can start putting in our highlights into this finger. Let's throw some highlights into this hand. pretty basic stuff. Not easy, right? Basic, just well, I mean, not easy for everybody, not easy for me, but maybe it's easy for some people. But really basic, right? Just forming the shapes and now just adding highlights onto the hand. So super basic as far as like what I'm doing goes. Super basic stuff. Not easy, again, not easy. But this is stuff that you would probably learn in like, the first day in an art class, right? You draw a circle and like how do you make that circle a sphere? Right? That's like the most basic thing. Now, doing it well is a whole different story, but it's a fundamental. The fundamental is essentially the same. The fundamental is the same. So this thumb should actually, that goes like right there. So this thumb should only go a little bit past, so this isn't even right. This thumb should only go a little bit past this section right here. Let's go. Shouldn't go that far. So even this thumb's a little off. So let's go. You know what? I go thumb even a little bit further back in. The angle should be like that. That angle is way too tight here. So we go bring this angle up. That should not be past the second knuckle here. Let's go ahead and push this knuckle, this thumb back up a little bit. There we go. Let's just add little pops of white just so we can kind of start to see where things are falling and just see if we're, in the right direction. Got a little thumb mark right over here. Thumb mark. And then that's the nail. Yo, smart fridge. What's up, man? The smart fridge has arrived. Mr. Smart Fridge has arrived. Smart fridge has arrived now. Da-na-na-na. Get your Samsung smart fridge. Keep your food cold. Keep the mold away. Making a jingle. Making a Samsung smart fridge jingle. Keep your food cold. No mold. By the way, Samsung, we're actually almost done, dude. I'm gonna wrap up here in a few, but just getting in some details right now. Just getting in some details to see. Get your Samsung smart fridge. Keep your food cold. No mold. Smart fridge jingle. You know, one thing that I've lost that I did on the original was I did a lot of this, a lot of scrubbing. You know, and that really just helps to spread the paint in certain areas, and it really helps you to create a. You know, you can say it's glazing in a way, but I'm not really glazing because the surface is wet. You could almost call this glazing, but not really. I guess you could. You technically could just call it, say glazing, but if you really wanted to say it, you could. Scumbling. Ah, yeah, scumbling, glazing, scumbling. Yeah. Samsung's quoting my jingle. You know, honestly, if I ever hear that jingle, I am coming after Samsung with this live stream video and claiming that I came up with that song. Just letting you know now, just giving you a heads up. There's a lot of things that I like to give people credit for. I don't mind other people taking credit for, but music, it's my music. Although the only thing about scumbling though is like I'm not even really there's no real textures here. You know, the thing that's mostly scumbling is just the fact that I'm taking a dry brush and rubbing it all. Let's give it a nice flat look right there. Why does it need a pitchfork? That's the story, man. Pitchfork is the story. Let's see. I'm wondering, like, how much red I should use. I don't want to. I don't want to use too much red. But red really adds a lot of personality. It almost looks painful to be red, doesn't it? I think that's the whole point of heaven and hell is being red looks painful. I would never want to be red. This looks so painful, doesn't it? Like this he just looks like he got boiled. Like looked like he was boiled alive or something, you know? I could probably just save this red for like a glaze. That's probably what I should do rather than trying to scumble it on right now. Yeah, mute some of the greens. Yeah, good idea. Thank you, thank you. Always great to have like other artists in this live stream because uh, I gotta say I have learned so much from other artists just being in this live stream, getting ideas, and it's awesome. It's great. It is fantastic. Like being red looks so painful. I can't imagine how much it would hurt to be red. Like just being red alone sounds very unpleasant. Looks like her touching him is what's getting him. Does he look angry? He's not angry. I just haven't had a chance to really add his smile in yet. They're playing. She's having fun. He's having fun. This is a playful scene. Oh yeah. Excuse you as a rose red person. Oh yeah. Okay, I see. He's turning red because she's touching. I see what you're saying. Ah, right. Yeah. No, he's just blushing. He's blushing. He blushes a lot. His whole body gets blushed. Honestly, I don't even know if this is how a tail would look. This is the right area. But humans, I think humans, if they had a tail, it would be right there, right? Because that's where our tailbone kind of like curls up. He's not scary looking, is he? Because Samurai said, "What's that?" But I don't think he's scary. He's not supposed to be scary. He's supposed to just be like, he's a little trickster. Okay, let's go. We're gonna go. Let's keep this going, actually. Anatomy got you to it. No, not really. How do I be able to bring scenes to life while you can only draw hair? You know, drawing hair is pretty hard. Drawing hair is not easy. That can be your talent, you know, drawing hair. Nothing wrong with that, dude. Nothing wrong with drawing hair. And you know what the truth is? Let's give a little motivational pep talk. Is you probably just haven't practiced the other stuff enough. You know, you just simply haven't put in enough time to try the things that you want to paint that scare you. All right, let's actually clean off this brush. I'm gonna do one more section. I'm gonna clean this brush off. I guarantee that if you ever draw something and it doesn't look right, if you draw it 20 more times, you will figure out what the problem is. And the only reason why that doesn't work on a painting and why you should have to, you know, you study a little bit more for painting is because, you know, for painting, I mean, it's not permanent, but like, you know, there's only so many times that I can adjust the adjust these figures before I have to commit to a design, right? And that's like, that's like the only real major difference. But that is why some artists are known to like do hundreds and hundreds of preparatory sketches and be able to come up with stuff like this. Again, I'm not saying I did not come up with this. I'm just copying somebody else's sketch. And as I'm doing this, I'm just wondering if he's starting to move too much into the red zone, too much reds and pinks. Maybe it's a good thing. Maybe I did, you know, I looked at one of Bouguereau's demons. He actually did paint like various types of demons. And the one he painted was actually like a gray. I know he painted like a gray demon. So I wonder if this red just becomes a little too much. All right, yeah, but hey, anyways, I'm gonna call it a wrap too. We're gonna wrap this up. Actually, no, I just want to get one more section just to identify some details for the next time I paint, so it's easier. If I allow this shadow to, if I curve around this shadow, there we go. All right. curve around the shadow. And that, everybody, is we're going to call this a good night. I'm going to put my stuff away. Call this a close for the evening. Get ready for bed. But those of you that are here, thank you. Come back another day, thank you. And then if you're not here, but you somehow watch this live stream in the future, thanks. Great. Wonderful. Awesome to see all of you here. And we're probably I'm probably only like 10% done, depending on how far I want to push this. I don't know yet, like how detailed I want to get this. If there's a chance I'm somewhere between like 10 and 20% done. So with that, everyone, I hope you all have a very creative Sunday tomorrow. Hope everyone gets to do something fantastic and enjoy a good day. And have a good one. Take care, everybody. Good night.